G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/AmITheA A-hole. Now if you love this one like I love you, be sure to smash that like button and tell me what you think about it. Who is the a-hole in this situation? Anyway guys, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Posted by user Schmezzles, titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend to go F himself for telling me to drink my coffee in a particular way under his roof?" I take a long time to drink my coffee, and as a result, sometimes it gets cold before I finish it. I don't mind cold coffee, so I drink it anyway. My boyfriend thinks this is disgusting. He doesn't like coffee anyway. He told me that he doesn't want me to drink coffee that way because it disgusts him. I told him that it's me who's drinking it. Why should he care? He insisted that it's disgusting, and if I don't want you to drink a cup of coffee around the house, then you don't. And the good old my house, my rules. He compared it to him not wanting guests to smoke in his house, or taking off shoes at the door. However, I told him that those examples are not comparable, because secondhand smoke is still harmful, and wearing dirty shoes in the house makes the floor dirty for everyone else's feet. How I drink a cup of coffee does neither. I lost my cool and told him to go F himself for being controlling. Am I the a-hole? Update, I showed in the comments, and he conveniently came up with the excuse, "I am sorry you found it as a controlling act. I said that because, not being used to coffee, I can smell its odor, so I don't want the odor to spread around the house." I've told him that it's not a matter of me seeing it that way. He is being controlling, and it's unacceptable. He keeps asking me to explain why, even though I feel like I have about 1,000,000 times. I said that I've explained enough, and I'm not interested in talking until he takes responsibility. Is this real life? I swear the world is going insane a day at a time. Not the a-hole. I wish this were just fantasy, not the a-hole. It's like we're caught in a landslide, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Has he ever heard of iced coffee? Why are you living with him? I don't even live with him. We're in a long-distance relationship, and this is when I stayed with him in his parents' house over 2 weeks. He's showing you his true self. Believe him. Ding ding ding, we have a winner, nicely put. 4 red flags. Here, you dropped these. Trying to control how you drink your coffee is a huge red flag. Definitely don't give in, but it'll only get worse from here. What you can and can't eat, what you can and can't wear, who you can and can't see, etc. Not the a-hole. Narcissist's prayer. That didn't happen, and if it did, it wasn't that bad, and if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, it's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. Red flag. I'm sorry you found it as a controlling act. Oh lord. I've been watching too much RuPaul's Drag Race. Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend to go F himself for telling me how to drink my coffee under his roof? So, someone posted my boyfriend's social media page as a comment, now deleted in the original post. Unfortunately, my boyfriend still received some nasty messages, which was never meant to happen regardless of who was at fault. If you are the person who did this, you are the a-hole big time. Why on earth would you do that? What if I was in a dangerously abusive relationship? That could have put my life in danger. My boyfriend, even though I showed him the original post, while there were 6 comments, blamed me for this person's behavior and accused me of allowing cyberbullying. He also did not agree with any of the comments. I told him I understand why he's upset and that I am upset too, because I truly believed that it was completely anonymous, and I did all I could to remove the comment as soon as I saw it. He did not agree with any of the comments and said that I am the one who is controlling. He also said that what I did is unforgivable, as well as irresponsible and reckless. I said I needed to be alone to think about things. After I thought about everything that happened, I asked him if we could talk the next day. Despite what happened, I felt like it would be the decent thing to talk on the phone. I feel he responded pretty aggressively, saying things like, "I am ready now, don't know about tomorrow." He told me to write it down, as I preferred to have a mob go at him, to text him tomorrow to check when he's available, and that he's not at my disposal. I told him to please stop being aggressive. It's unreasonable to expect me to guess when he's available, and that the point of asking when he's available is to appreciate he may have other things to do. The next day, I sent him a voice recording because I felt that he would turn aggressive on the phone. I told him that I think that we are on different paths and it would be best to end this relationship. Apparently, by that point he'd already decided to end the relationship, but then said later that he was willing to give me a second chance and that his love was stronger. He said that he made grave mistakes and that he feels sorry, but he doesn't want to be with someone who doesn't let him be himself. Okay, I hope that gives him the closure he needs. Then I had a cup of coffee. Edit, sorry if it was unclear. What I meant to say is that I broke up with him, and then I enjoyed my cup of coffee in peace. Good job, OP, I'm proud of you. My wife leaves her coffee until it's stone cold. I call her weird in a joking way, then I get the hell on with my life because her drinking coffee cold doesn't impact my life in the slightest. For real, OP's ex-boyfriend is a fudging crybaby. Yeah, like if I went out of my way to change every little thing my wife does, well, I'd be a bloody arsehole. But also really unfudging happy. OP's boyfriend is gonna be fudging miserable if he fixates on crap like that. Despite all of the social media harassment, breaking up with him is the best possible outcome. It baffles me how he was unable to see that he was clearly in the wrong, but still, you can drink as much coffee as you want now. As a friend of mine likes to say, I can explain it to you, but I cannot understand it for you. I'm referring to the boyfriend in this case, not you, just so we're clear. That was what I was thinking when she said he claimed to not understand her explanations of his controlling behavior. I prefer to say you cannot force anyone to do anything, which includes being ready to see another point of view. Oh, that's deep. Seeing this post, I feel OP's ex is the typical guy who thinks he can brute force anything through his relationship, and if it doesn't work, he'll try to rope them back in. But whatever they say after facing consequences, they already showed you how they act when they feel safe. Yikes. How did someone know his social media? Was it someone you know, or were there somehow identifying details that you edited out by now? Congrats on leaving his lame ass though. Nope, I never edited out any details, no personal identifiable information. I showed him what I wrote when there were only 6 comments, and he didn't seem to have a problem with what I wrote until it got unexpected attention. $50 says he posted it himself. Oh yeah, definitely. Markee ain't saying anything, but you know where there's smoke there's fire, that's all I'm saying, sheep, that's all I'm saying. Would I be the a-hole if I took action about my husband's snoring? By Noms for All. I, 36 female, am getting both concerned and fed up with my husband's snoring. We've been married for a few years, but the consistent snoring has only started over the past 6 months or so. Before then, usually he would only snore if he was out drinking with his buddies all night. Fast forward to now, and I'm waking up about 10 times a night. I've mentioned the more frequent snoring to him a few times, but of course, since he's not experiencing it while he's awake, he just shrugs it off. He's gained a bit of weight over the past 3 years, maybe 30 to 40 pounds, and I'm wondering if that's what triggered the snoring. Of course, there's not really a good way for me to bring that up as a potential cause without seeming like a little bit of an a-hole. And I know there might be other causes. I absolutely love my husband to bits, but I am a very grumpy person when I don't get sleep. Would I be the a-hole if I insisted that he visit a doctor about his snoring, or say that we will have separate sleeping arrangements until he does so? Edit, thank you for all the kind responses and suggestions. I see I'm not the only one literally and metaphorically losing sleep over snoring. I hadn't really thought about sleep apnea being a possibility for him, but I have been concerned there is an underlying medical issue. I'll be looking more into substantial pillows and making sure there's not some allergen that could be irritating his system in our room. I'm also going to have a discussion with him and be clear that I'm coming from a place of love and concern. Since I know he doesn't love going to the clinic, I'll offer to go to the doctor with him so we can see if he needs a sleep study. We do have a spare bedroom, so if I need to escape in there periodically, I will. Not the a-hole. Do it from a place of love. He might have developed sleep apnea, which is a serious concern on its own. Even without that possibility, you wouldn't be the a-hole. You can't function without sleep, and constantly losing sleep will have all kinds of effects on your health. Thank you for the information. If he does have it, I'd certainly want to make sure he's getting treatment sooner than later. Not the a-hole. I'm going through a similar thing. My partner can't control the snoring, so we got nasal strips and neti pot to help clear out their nose and better pillows. It's actually helped immensely and was cheap enough to try all of that first before jumping to going to the doctors. Thanks for these suggestions. I'm going to do a deep cleaning in the room to be sure there aren't any potential allergens. I'm not sure if he'd be willing to use a neti pot or nasal strips, but I'll make the suggestion when I talk to him. Not the a-hole, it may be his weight if it just started. I'm a snorer and we sleep in separate rooms, partly for snoring and partly we have little kids who like to cuddle, and we don't have a giant bed so we split up. Why don't you just express how disturbing it is to you? Record him. I didn't know how bad it was until I heard it, and then suggest a sleep study. Don't mention his weight in your concern for him. Sudden snoring could actually be a real health issue, and it's something he should explore. Or you can go to the separate rooms route and sleep peacefully that way. I thought about recording him, and I may end up doing that if he's hesitant to go about seeing a doctor. I have been concerned that the somewhat sudden change in snoring could signal a more serious problem, so this reinforces the need to get him to a medical professional. I may also retreat to the guest room on a bad night in the meantime. Update. Would I be the a-hole if I took action about my husband's snoring? My previous Would I be the a-hole posting was pretty quiet, but I appreciated everyone who took the time to respond. I'm providing an update in hopes that maybe our experience will help internet strangers also dealing with this. Based on the Am I the a-hole feedback, I sat down with my husband to share my concerns about the sudden onset of his excessive snoring. I said I thought he may have developed sleep apnea, which could be serious. I encouraged him to go see a doctor, stating that I would be willing to go with him. I also said I would go to the guest room if I was unable to sleep due to the snoring. After this conversation, nothing really changed, and it made me very frustrated. There were a few times when I retreated to the guest room to try to sleep. The first time, I didn't lock the door, and he came into the room, immediately fell back asleep, and snoring right in my face. I was ticked, and made it clear that if I was in the guest room sleeping, it was because he was snoring, and he was not to come in. This pattern went on for a bit before everything blew up mid-April. I asked him if he wanted to come for a walk with me, and he said he would. Just a few minutes into the walk, he said I was walking too fast and taking it too seriously. I told him if he didn't want to walk, he should just go home. He did, and I finished my walk fuming. When I got home, I said we needed to talk. I told him first and foremost that I loved him to bits, but I was not going to sugarcoat what I needed to say. I reminded him that he used to be so active, as we used to hike and run together. Now he had gone from being a healthy weight to overweight to obese. I reminded him of the earlier conversation about sleep apnea and asked if he had looked into the causes of the condition. He said that he hadn't, and I said that while not all cases have the same cause, many times sudden snoring can be the result of weight gain or serious problems. I almost cried at this point, saying I was really worried about the long-term impact on his health if things didn't change. I ended the conversation by saying that I realized that the beginning of a pandemic is a bad time to try to get healthy. He had listened quietly the whole time before responding, or is it? He thanked me for my honesty and acknowledged that he hadn't taken any of this seriously, but that he wanted to. Although he didn't go to see a doctor, he has been working out and eating well since that conversation. Yesterday, he shared that he was down 15 pounds, and his goal is to lose 20 more by the end of the summer. His snoring has pretty much stopped, and we are both sleeping better. It wasn't easy to have those talks, but I'm thrilled that he took the initiative to take care of himself, and I no longer have to worry about sleeping in the spare room. What an amazing outcome. It's so fantastic to read that he is becoming healthier. Even with the lockdown and the fact that the snoring has all but stopped is amazing for him and you. I know. I really thought that not being able to go to the gym would be an excuse, but he's been on the treadmill and lifting weights at home. He's a great partner, and I'm so glad that this isn't causing conflict anymore. People don't take weight-caused sleep apnea serious enough. He could die in his sleep. I'm glad he's cutting the weight and is getting better. It absolutely destroyed my uncle. He had a small number of strokes in his 50s that his doctors attribute to severe, untreated apnea, and is barely able to care for himself due to the psychological side effects. He's physically able-bodied, but he can't work, can't drive, and is difficult to hold a reasonable conversation with. It's really awful. Posted by user Spicy as a Baguette, titled, "Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister see her kids? I, 28 female, obtained custody of my sister's 35 female kids, 9 male, 4 female, 2 female, back in 2018 after she let them alone for 2 weeks to go on a trip. Red drug bender. Of course, this was a huge transition for the kiddos. They had to be moved schools and daycares, and of course they couldn't see their mum anymore. Now the kids are doing better and definitely lead happier lives. Recently though, my sister was released from prison and wants to see the kids again. She called me, begging me to have a visit with them, and telling me that I could give them back because she was out of prison now. I had a talk with a 9-year-old, and he says that he doesn't want to see his mum yet, and that he still hates her for leaving him alone. The girls have no memories of her, and the smallest one was only 3 months old the last time she saw her. I do feel like I could have helped them foster a better relationship with her, but I don't want to force the oldest into meeting her when he absolutely doesn't want to. Still, my close family has told me that the oldest doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's my fault the little ones don't remember their mother because I didn't take them to see her when she was in prison. They also told me that it's my responsibility to force them to meet her, even when they don't want to, because that's what's best for them and they shouldn't grow up without their mother. So, am I the a-hole? Edit, I have spoken to a professional about this, specifically the oldest's therapist. They have advised that it should be up to him, and I just want to know if I'm being a jerk to my sister. Also, I have adopted the kids and have complete full custody of all of them. Not the a-hole. I'm not a child psychologist, but despite what your mother said, it's possible that it could actually be bad for them to see their bio mum, your sister, but you are definitely not an a-hole. Not the a-hole, I am a therapist who has worked with kids in CPS families, reunification and permanent foster placement/adoption. Please listen to the oldest's therapist and your nephew. He trusts you to keep him safe after all he has been through. If you go against his wishes, this could cause him and his sister irreparable harm. Your family is invested in maintaining a family unit, not making sure that these kids have the best care. If there is any entitlement from the mum, then she is not ready for a visit or anything. If she is truly ready to make amends, then she will wait for him to be ready, earn everyone's trust, etc. If she isn't ready to do the work or acknowledge the impact of her actions, then no dice. Please protect them, even if it means going against the rest of the family's wishes. Not the a-hole at all. Opie's job as a mother is to protect those children. Protecting their son means doing what's best for him and respecting his boundaries. Their previous mother is suffering the consequences of her actions, not OP's. OP, you are a wonderful person. I have a toddler and an infant, and if I also had a 7-year-old, I'd likely be cray, or at least more cray. I'm so sorry that you're in this terrible position, and so inspired by you. What lucky kids those are, truly. And yes, I know I've read that post before, but I'm going over it again because there is an update. Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister see her kids? So I wasn't expecting to make an update post because I honestly wasn't expecting there to be an update to this. Unfortunately, I'm wrong. I gave my oldest 2 weeks to really think about whether he wanted to talk to my sister or not. I figured that the decision he made at first might have been out of anger, so I wanted to give him time to make such an important decision. Ultimately, he decided that he did actually want to talk to her. I have to admit I was a little bit surprised, but we set up a Zoom call between them anyway, of course with me supervising. Right before the Zoom call, he admitted to me that he wanted to talk to her, just to see if she'll say sorry. She did not say sorry. Actually, she opened with, "Hello, it's been so long. I guess you're ready to come home with me now?" And then she noticed that I was sitting there with him, and almost immediately launched into accusations about alienation and how I have to give the kids back now, or she'll call the police and say I kidnapped them. My oldest was very obviously disgusted. He asked her if she was going to apologize to him, and she actually had the audacity to ask what she had to apologize for. At that point, he just shut off the Zoom call. I asked him if he was okay, but he spent the rest of the afternoon in his room by himself. That night, he told me that he never wanted to talk to her again, ever. I told him that never is a long time, but that we weren't going to make him talk to her if he didn't want to, and we were never ever, ever going to give him back to her. He told me that never is a long time. We told him that in this case, it meant never. I'm still shocked. I don't know what happened to my sister. She was my best friend as a kid. She was almost my second mother. She was sweet and caring and nice. I just don't know how that all changed so fast. Or maybe it didn't change that fast, and I just never noticed it until it was too late, and I was driving 4 hours away at midnight to pick up 3 little kids, one of which I didn't even know existed before then. Before now, I honestly never considered myself as their parent, even after I legally adopted them. More like I was just taking care of them long term. But now I realize that those kids are my kids, and they're going to be my kids for the rest of my, and hopefully their lives. Thank you for all your help, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic life. That is the best outlook to have, and I wish you all an amazing life together. You keep knocking out of the park being their mother. I saw that coming as soon as she said my oldest midway through this post. I was like, oh, she said my. Consciously or not, she views them as hers now. Oh my lord, I just noticed. I didn't even realize I said that. Okay, I'm gonna cuddle my kiddos and cry now. I'll be back in a bit. Smiley face. I wondered if you noticed you said that. I'm super happy for you and the kids. Not everyone is so lucky to have someone save them from a bad situation. Wishing you all nothing but a bright, shining future together. Posted by user King Sigma. Titled, Would I be the a-hole for asking adults to pay for themselves at my daughter's birthday party? Time sensitive. My daughter was born in December. She has always been envious of kids who get to have summer beach/pool parties, and this year I decided that I was going to make her wish come true. I found a swim school with an indoor pool that hosts birthday parties. The package for up to 20 kids in the pool was $475, or so I thought. I added 6 pizzas to that, so we are at $535. Add a cake, party favors, decorations, etc., and I'm looking at around $700 for this party. Yesterday, while I was setting up the specifics of the party with the coordinator, she mentioned, now 3 days before the party, that the 20 kids included in the pool actually applies to everyone in the pool, not just kids. She said that if any adult goes swimming at the party over that 20-person limit that I paid for, there will be a charge of $10 per person over the 20 people. We have 19 kids coming. I came in just under the 20 people. So now if 10 adults decide they're going to swim with their kids, that's $100 out of my pocket in addition to the $700 I am already spending. I didn't sign up for that. This party is for the kids. I don't mind paying if aunt, uncle, and grandparent of my daughter wants to swim, but I am expected to foot the bill for any random parent that decides they want to take a dip? I want to send out a notice to all the parents that responded to my evite with some party notes, like wear comfortable clothes, it will be 90 degrees in the pool area. Listed among those notes will be something like, the swim school has notified me that adults may swim with their children for an additional cost of $10 per guest. I'm not trying to sound cheap here, but am I the a-hole if I don't want to pay the extra for adults to swim at my daughter's birthday party? My family is divided. Some think I should suck it up and pay for whoever wants to swim. Some think the party is for the kids and adults are on their own. I should send a polite note. My dad says I should print out a sign and hang it on a wall somewhere that it says explains that they need to pay for themselves. I haven't sent out the note yet. I want to gauge the reaction I get before I do anything. Would I be the a-hole? Edit, here is the note I'm thinking of sending. Hi all, just a few notes regarding daughter's name's birthday party on this date. 1. The room housing the pool is kept at a temperature of 90 degrees. Dress appropriately so you won't be too warm. 2. Life vests, rafts, pool noodles, paddleboards, etc. are all provided. 3. There will be a lifeguard on staff during the entirety of the party. 4. The pool depth is 4 feet all the way around. 5. Children under 3 years old must be accompanied by an adult. And 6. The swim school has informed me that adults are welcome to swim as well for a charge of $10 per adult. You can pay at the front desk when you arrive if you choose to swim with your child. They will not allow more than 30 people in the pool at one time. If the kids were older, I think it would be reasonable to expect that none of the adults would be swimming. It's a kids' pool party after all. But since they're so young, some of the adults might only feel comfortable if they're with their child. What if you politely ask how many parents plan on swimming, because the pool needs to know ahead of time. If it's 3 parents, just pay it. If it's all 19, then you can reevaluate if you can afford it. I highly doubt more than half the parents plan on swimming. From my experience with kids' parties, I'd actually be surprised if all of the parents even stayed. I would say not the a-hole. The pool is the a-hole. This has to be an issue they've had in the past. Quoting you the price for just the kids without telling you about the adults is crappy of them. But why in the world would the pool only charge for how many kids are there? It just doesn't make sense. This is OP's oversight. Kids require more supervision than adults by law and national standards. It would honestly make perfect sense to me if someone implied to me that the cost was based on the number of children. I would just assume that they would know how many adults they should expect, and know that given a lower need for supervision, those adults would be covered by the available lifeguards. That being said, I have worked at a place that maintains a pool, and know a tiny bit about how those standards work. I think it sounds a bit asshole-ish, but you are the one hosting. Also, is it normal that parents join kids' parties? I remember when I was being younger, the parents would drop us at the party and come back later. Maybe add a rule the pool is for kids only. You're the a-hole, but a-hole is actually too strong a term here. Sending the note wouldn't be that bad, but it would, in my opinion, be a bad idea and in poor taste for a few reasons. 1. You already sent out an evite without strings attached. Sending a follow-up note attaching strings after people already responded is obnoxious and comes across as miserly. 2. You should have asked for more specifics about pricing when booking the pool. It seems odd to me that you just automatically assumed only children would count towards the total of 20 people using the pool. The mistake in not getting this information earlier was yours, so I think paying for the parents should therefore be your responsibility. 3. It is entirely possible that some parents may be irritated enough about the additional strings you're attaching after they've accepted the evite that they've changed their mind about attending, which would only end up hurting your daughter. You're doing an awesome thing for her here. Don't tarnish it over this. 4. If you do charge, you're likely going to have to end up chasing after at least a few people for the $10, which will make things more awkward, possibly strain your relationship with your kids' friends' parents, create resentment, and just plain turn into a headache that lingers for you far past the end of the party itself. I know adding a couple $100 more to an already high cost sucks, but if you can afford to throw a big party like this in the first place, I'm going to assume, forgive me if I'm assuming incorrectly, that your financial situation is such that you could afford the extra $200-ish without missing a mortgage payment or eating only plain rice and beans for a month or anything like that. So maybe just take it as a learning experience. Pony up the dough and take the time to carefully scrutinize charges, policies, etc. when planning any events in the future. Either way, I hope your kid has an awesome birthday party. This is exactly the type of advice one of my close friends would provide me. In fact, I heard this in his voice while reading this, so thank you. That was a very well thought out and rational response. Update. Would I be the a-hole for asking parents to pay for themselves at my daughter's birthday party? So, last week I was judged as the a-hole. I took the community's advice and did not send a note. I'm glad I followed that advice, because the party turned out fantastic. Only one adult went in the pool, and that was because his son was 3 years old. The pool did not charge me for that guy since his kid was 3. 2 kids who were siblings got sick and did not attend, so I was at 18 people in the pool, including the one adult. Most of the adults sat near the pool and chatted, some sat in the lobby, some dropped off their child and left. My wife and I received a lot of compliments from the adults and kids about the pool party, and also an invitation to another classmate's party next weekend. My sincere thanks for all the advice. I think I could have caused some unnecessary strain on the relationships with the other parents, and now it seems that we are in very good graces with all. Happy ending. All these updates are like really good stories, in all honesty. I think I'm going to do a trend now where I do cover updates in an entire episode, and then the normal posts are going to be in other episodes. And you'll be able to spot them as you're going through them. Some are going to be more story posts, some are going to be more, hey, what do you guys think in the comments? Tell me, are they the a-hole or not? So yeah, I'm keen for that. But in regards to this story, it was a bit of an a-hole move, but Reddit really helped them realize that what the right choice in this situation was, and I think they made the right choice. I think it was bad of them. They were just misguided. They didn't know what they were doing. But hey, it worked out in the end, and I'm glad that it did. Now it's time to hand you to outro, Markee. Alright guys, that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to tell me what you thought about it down in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel also, don't forget to subscribe. It would really help out with my channel growth. And also, a huge shout out to my channel patrons and members. I just love you guys and thank you for supporting me on this journey. If you guys are new to the channel and you'd like to support me, links are down below for the Patreon, or you can click the join button next to subscribe if you'd like to become a channel member. Alright guys, that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.